The stars over Earth's orbit had always seemed calm, steady, and distant. From the human perspective, the universe was vast, quiet, and almost empty. Yet among those twinkling lights, something moved. Something unfamiliar, something deliberate. Humanity had been expanding quietly into nearby star systems for decades, carefully building colonies, research stations, and trade routes. Humans were explorers by nature, and their curiosity often brought them into the unknown. But this time, the unknown came to them. The first sign was a message, not loud or threatening, but precise and unsettling. The words were simple, almost too simple. We come to apologize. It appeared on every communications channel simultaneously, in Earth's orbit, across the colonies in nearby star systems, and even in the long-range sensors monitoring uncharted space. There was no signature, no usual transmission format, just the strange certainty of a message meant to be noticed. Human leaders gathered immediately. On Earth, in the United Nations Orbital Command, General Elena Rojas stared at the glowing screen, her brow tight. She had faced many challenges, both terrestrial and extraterrestrial. But something about this message made her uneasy. Apologies, she muttered, almost to herself. Apologies from whom? And why now? Her second-in-command, Commander Ravi Patel, leaned forward. We don't know yet. Could be Vrixians. Could be someone else. Whoever they are, they're capable of reaching every colony at once. That's not a casual visit, Elena nodded. Prepare all communications for immediate response. Keep sensors on maximum, and alert the fleet. Across the human colonies, similar reactions unfolded. Scientists, engineers, and military officers all stopped what they were doing, trying to interpret the message. Some wondered if it was a hoax, a trick, or a warning disguised as an apology. Others felt the ancient human instinct. When someone says sorry, it is either too late or too dangerous to trust. Within hours, the first ships appeared. They were not many, perhaps a handful by human standards, but their shapes were alien in every sense. Sleek silver-blue hulls that reflected the light of distant suns, moving with precision and confidence. The ships hovered near Earth's orbit, stationary yet undeniably present. Identify them, Elena ordered. Her voice was calm, but her hands clenched the edge of the command console. Ravi's fingers danced across the controls. Sensors are active. Scanning energy signatures. No hostile weapons detected. Life signs. Yes, multiple beings aboard. They are humanoid in a sense, but different. Their movements, precise, almost mechanical. Elena's eyes narrowed. Mechanical? Are they robots or organic? They appear organic, but the suit systems enhance their abilities. Unknown technology, possibly hybrid. The humans had faced strange beings before, but this was different. These were not raiders, pirates, or explorers lost in space. These were deliberate, organized, and confident, and they were here to apologize. Within the next 24 hours, the aliens, later identified as the Vrixians, sent a delegation. A small craft separated from the larger ships, moving slowly toward the International Space Command Station in low Earth orbit. It docked smoothly without any sign of aggression. Human officers watched on the monitors as the hatch opened. Out stepped figures tall and elegant, with skin that shimmered faintly under the station's artificial lights. Their eyes were dark and reflective, intelligent and alert. They moved with a grace that humans could not easily imitate. Each step seemed measured, each gesture deliberate. Leading them was a Vrixian who introduced itself as Lorthus. Through a translator, its voice was calm, polite, almost unnervingly perfect. We are here to apologize, Lorthus said. Centuries ago, in our observations and interactions, we misjudged humanity. We offer our apologies and seek reconciliation. There was silence among the humans. Apologies were not part of diplomacy in interstellar matters. Mistakes could be forgiven, but trust had to be earned. And humans had learned early in their history that the first apology often came after the first fire, after the first betrayal or attack. General Rojas stepped forward. You may speak, Lorthus, but understand this. Apologies alone are not sufficient. Humanity does not negotiate from weakness. Lorthus inclined its head slightly, almost as if acknowledging an unspoken challenge. We understand. We do not ask for trust. We only wish to explain and offer assistance. Assistance. That word, like the apology, carried multiple meanings. The Vrixians presented small gifts, devices that seemed harmless at first glance. Energy manipulators, advanced tools, and compact medical technology. Human scientists were immediately curious. Dr. Maytan, a leading human physicist, inspected one of the devices. "Fascinating," she whispered. "Its energy signature is stable yet highly efficient. The potential applications for human technology could be revolutionary." Yet even as she marveled, another part of her mind, the survival-minded part that humanity had cultivated for millennia, warned caution. Something about perfection was rarely natural. Meanwhile, debates erupted among human leadership. Some saw an opportunity for diplomacy, trade, and learning. Others, like General Rojas, insisted on vigilance. "Do we really believe them?" Ravi asked privately. "We could gain decades of technology in exchange for..." "In exchange for what?" Elena replied sharply. "Our safety, our colonies, our independence. Humans do not trade their survival for gifts or words. That is not who we are." The tension grew as the Vrixians attempted small gestures of friendship, shared meals, technological demonstrations, and cultural exchanges. But every step humans took toward understanding was measured, calculated, and guarded. Every gift was analyzed, every word cross-checked with centuries of observation and data. Outside the stations, the first human fleet mobilized, not in aggression, but in readiness. Ships of every class, exploration, defense, transport, stood by in orbit, engines humming softly, sensors active, crews alert. Humanity had survived countless challenges on Earth, and it had learned one rule clearly. The moment an unknown presence touches human space, humans prepare always. As the first night passed in orbit, the Vrixians seemed patient. Lorthus spoke again, this time acknowledging the human response. "You do not trust easily," Lorthus said. "We understand. We expected hesitation. That is why we did not arrive sooner. We observed your growth, your strength, your unity. You are remarkable." Elena met Lorthus's gaze steadily. "You are correct. Humanity is remarkable, and we will not be tricked, manipulated, or underestimated. If your intentions are true, they will be shown in deeds, not words." Lorthus inclined its head again, expression unreadable. "Deeds will follow. Patience is requested." The hours passed, and humans remained alert. Scientists and engineers worked side by side with military strategists, analyzing the alien technology, testing its limits, and preparing for any eventuality. Humanity's strength was not only in their ships or weapons, but in their creativity, adaptability, and teamwork. Every human on the station and in orbit played a part. By the second day, a subtle unease had settled. While the Vrixians presented gifts and gestures of goodwill, the humans discovered something unexpected. Traces of surveillance embedded within the devices. Nothing overtly dangerous, but enough to suggest the aliens had studied humanity in secret, perhaps for centuries. Dr. Tan raised her findings in the command meeting. "These devices, they are not as harmless as they appear. There are subtle sensors, energy readings, and data collection algorithms. Someone wanted to know our capabilities, our habits, and our systems." Elena's jaw tightened. "Exactly as I suspected. Apologies are easy. Deception is difficult to hide completely. Prepare countermeasures, and keep all interactions under observation." Even as humans acted, the Vrixians did not retreat or show hostility. They remained calm, patient, and seemingly respectful. Yet humanity had already decided. No amount of apology would bypass their caution. The fire of human resolve was already lit. Humans had survived on Earth, had conquered harsh environments, and had expanded into the stars. They did not negotiate from fear. They did not accept apologies as currency for survival. As part 1 of this story ends, humanity faces a choice: to test the alien's sincerity or to prepare for consequences if words alone are not enough. The tension between curiosity, ingenuity, and caution sets the stage for what is to come. Humanity's greatest weapon was not technology or numbers, it was their spirit, their relentless drive, and their unwillingness to yield to the unknown. And the Vrixians, for all their preparation and sophistication, were about to discover that human determination was a force that could not be measured, predicted, or contained. The stars outside Earth's orbit glimmered quietly, unaware of the fire that had begun below, a fire not of anger but of unwavering human resolve. The calm of space and Earth's orbit had a deceptive quiet. Below the silence, human minds were already racing. Every sensor, every communication channel, every piece of alien technology that had arrived with the Vrixians was being examined. Humanity did not take chances. From the earliest days of exploration, humans had learned that curiosity without caution could be fatal. Dr. May Tan had been assigned to lead the examination of the devices the Vrixians had brought. She was meticulous, patient, and brilliant. The small gift the aliens had presented, an energy manipulator the size of a human hand, was extraordinary in design. Yet even as she admired its efficiency, she could not ignore the subtle signs of monitoring embedded in its circuits. "This is not just a tool," she told the Command Council during a secure meeting. "It collects data. Energy usage, spatial movement, communication patterns. Someone has been watching humanity very carefully." General Elena Rojas listened, arms folded. "Then they know enough to assume they can predict us. We cannot allow that. Prepare countermeasures. Anything that monitors human activity must be neutralized." The Vrixians, meanwhile, continued their gestures of goodwill. They offered advanced medical technology capable of repairing tissue faster than any human device. They demonstrated propulsion systems that were faster than current human standards. They shared knowledge of stellar navigation that could have shortened voyages by months. Human scientists were intrigued. Curiosity is part of the human spirit, but curiosity alone did not cloud judgment. Every gift was dissected, every device tested in isolated chambers. Humans had learned the hard way. Even the most elegant technology could hide danger. Dr. Tan discovered something unexpected. The energy manipulator contained a form of self-learning algorithm. It could observe, adapt, and predict human responses in subtle ways. It was not dangerous in the hands of one human, but in the hands of many, it could become a tool of influence. "This is subtle surveillance," she explained to the council. "They are learning our responses, not just our weaknesses. It is not a weapon yet, but it could become one if misused." Elena nodded. "We will not allow that. Begin neutralization protocols. We will study this technology, yes, but always under control. We are not bargaining chips. We are humans, and we do not yield easily." Across the orbital stations and human colonies, teams of engineers worked tirelessly. They learned to reverse engineer the alien devices without triggering any unintended effects. They developed countermeasures that could block monitoring signals, redirect energy flows, and even make the devices appear inactive while continuing to study them. Meanwhile, the Vrixians remained patient. Lorthis communicated regularly, always calm, always polite. "We understand your caution," Lorthis said during one session. "We do not seek to force trust. We only wish to provide our knowledge and guidance." "Your knowledge comes with strings attached," Elena replied sharply. "We do not accept strings. Your gifts are appreciated, but do not fool us. We are not naive children. We are humans, and we survive by thinking for ourselves." In the quiet of the labs, Dr. Tan and her team discovered more anomalies. The alien devices were interconnected in ways that humans had not initially detected. One small device could communicate with others over vast distances, creating a subtle network. It was not malicious, but it revealed the depth of planning behind the Vrixians' visit. They had observed, calculated, and designed their technology to gather maximum information. "Patience," Dr. Tan said to her team. "We are not powerless. We can learn from this without becoming part of their system. Observe, understand, and prepare. That is our strength." The first spark of tension came from an unexpected source: a minor malfunction aboard one of the Vrixian ships. It was unclear whether it was deliberate or accidental. A small energy pulse escaped from a research module, briefly illuminating the surrounding space. Sensors aboard human ships detected it instantly. "Possible weapon discharge," reported Lieutenant Commander Hiro Tanaka, his voice steady but tense. "No harm detected, but it was unusual. Minimal energy output, but detectable." Elena's response was immediate. "Lock down stations. Prepare defensive protocols. Maintain observation. Do not engage unless necessary." The Vrixians communicated quickly after the incident. "It was a technical error," Lorthis explained. "No threat intended. We regret any concern caused." Humans, however, had learned that even small errors could escalate. Trust was earned through consistent action, not words. The presence of the Vrixians, combined with the sophisticated technology they brought, meant that humans had to remain vigilant. As the hours passed, debates continued among human leadership. Some argued for cautious diplomacy, suggesting that engagement could lead to mutual understanding and benefit. Others, led by General Rojas, insisted on readiness. Humanity could learn from the Vrixians, but only on their terms. Ravi Patel, always a voice of reason, summarized the situation in a private briefing. We have their words, their gifts, and their explanations. But we also have evidence of surveillance and an unexplained incident. What they offer may be valuable, but we cannot accept it blindly. Humanity survives by thinking ahead, anticipating threats, and acting decisively. Elena nodded. Exactly. We will observe, we will learn, and we will prepare. The fire of human determination does not burn for gifts or apologies. It burns when survival and freedom are at stake. The Vrixians, observing human activity from their ships, were not expecting immediate hostility. They assumed that patience and reason would sway humans to cooperation. What they did not understand was the nature of human resolve. Humans were not easily persuaded, especially when their security was involved. The first spark of potential conflict emerged in the form of a subtle test. The Vrixians, attempting to demonstrate their technology's capabilities, triggered an energy field near a human station. It was meant as a demonstration, but the humans interpreted it as a possible probe or manipulation attempt. Dr. Tan and her team quickly calculated the potential outcomes. This is not an attack, she said. It is a test. But humans do not respond to tests passively. We observe, adapt, and respond strategically. Elena issued the orders. Prepare countermeasures. Monitor energy fields. Do not retaliate unless necessary. Our response will be precise, calculated, and unyielding. In the observation decks, human officers watched as the Vrixian ships moved with controlled precision. They marveled at the design, the speed, and the coordination. But admiration did not lead to submission. Humans had survived earthquakes, storms, diseases, and the harshness of space. They had thrived because they combined intelligence, creativity, and courage. Outside the stations, small reconnaissance drones were launched to study the Vrixian ships. The drones were fast, adaptive, and equipped with sensors designed by human ingenuity. They moved quietly, avoiding detection while mapping the ship's systems. Humans learned more in hours than the Vrixians had expected. The first spark of understanding also revealed the humans' greatest strength, adaptability. Where the Vrixians assumed patterns could be predicted, humans responded in unpredictable ways. Where technology was advanced, humans applied creativity and ingenuity to adapt, neutralize, and sometimes improve. As the first day of observations concluded, a subtle message from Lorthus arrived. We admire your resilience, humans. You are not what we expected. Your response is remarkable. Elena considered the words carefully. Admiration is irrelevant. We do not yield to observation, manipulation, or fear. Humanity does not negotiate from weakness. That is a lesson you will learn if you continue testing us. The Vrixians paused as if realizing for the first time that humans were not easily influenced. The gifts, the apologies, and the carefully planned demonstrations had no effect on the core of human determination. Humanity's first spark of resistance had been lit, and somewhere deep in the hearts of every human watching, analyzing, and preparing, there was a quiet certainty. Humanity would not be controlled, manipulated, or tricked. They would survive, not because they had superior weapons or technology, but because they had ingenuity, courage, and the unshakable will to protect their own. As the Vrixians prepared their next steps, they would find that words, gifts, and apologies were meaningless against the fire of human resolve, and that fire was only beginning to burn. The calm of space had already begun to crack. Humanity had observed, analyzed, and prepared. Every station, every ship, every human mind was alert. But the Vrixians, for all their patience and precision, had underestimated one thing: human unpredictability. The first real spark of conflict came not from hatred or malice, but from curiosity and caution, mixed with centuries of survival instinct. A human reconnaissance drone, smaller than a person and equipped with the latest stealth technology, drifted closer to a Vrixian ship than any human had dared before. Its mission was simple: observe and record without detection. Yet even the most careful plan can reveal unexpected truths. The drone detected a subtle energy pulse emanating from the alien ship, too rhythmic, too deliberate to be natural. Dr. Maytan examined the data with her team. This is not a weapon, she explained. Not yet, but it is a probe, designed to measure reactions, test our systems, and learn our limits. They are learning our behavior, and they do not realize that we are learning theirs at the same time. General Elena Rojas reviewed the findings in the command room. Humans do not cower. If they are testing, we respond in ways they cannot predict. Prepare a controlled demonstration. Show capability without escalation. Let them see that humanity is not easily read. The humans' response was methodical. They activated a counterfield, using energy redirection systems that could absorb and reflect alien pulses. The pulse hit the field and bounced back, creating a harmless but unmistakable display of human technological skill. From the observation decks of the Vrixian ships, Lorthus's eyes widened. They had expected curiosity, caution, perhaps hesitation, but not immediate adaptation. Humans were not only resilient, they were clever, unpredictable, and precise. "You adapt too quickly," Lorthus murmured to the others. "They are more than we estimated." Elena's voice came over the secure channel to the fleet. "This is only the beginning. Observe, learn, prepare. Humanity does not accept threats silently. We respond, and we respond intelligently." The first skirmish was small but significant. A Vrixian ship attempted a minor demonstration of energy manipulation near a human station, likely to test the humans' reaction times. The humans responded immediately, using their newly developed countermeasures to neutralize the energy safely. Drones monitored every movement, sensors recorded every pattern, and human crews adapted their strategies in real time. "Impressive," said Lieutenant Commander Hiro Tanaka, monitoring the encounter from the bridge of a patrol ship. "They expected fear. They expected hesitation. Instead, we responded intelligently and effectively. This is human strength, but it was more than technology. It was teamwork, courage, and adaptability. While the Vrixians relied on precision and planning, humans relied on creativity, intuition, and the ability to improvise under pressure. Every response was a lesson, every observation a preparation for what could come next. The Vrixians, observing from their ships, attempted a new approach. They initiated a display of advanced navigation maneuvers, creating a dynamic, almost dance-like pattern in space. It was intended to impress and intimidate. Humans, however, saw it differently. They calculated trajectories, mapped energy signatures, and devised their own maneuvers to match and counter the display. Small patrol ships darted between the alien vessels, shadowing movements and predicting courses. The Vrixians' confidence began to waver. Dr. Tan explained the strategy during a command briefing. "They rely on assumption and precision. We rely on adaptation and unpredictability. Their plans work on predictability. Humans do not fit predictable patterns. That is why we are effective. That is why we survive." As the day progressed, tension escalated. The Vrixians tried subtle manipulations, energy fluctuations, targeted pulses, and minor system tests. Humans countered each one with ingenuity and care. Every attempt the aliens made to study human response only revealed their underestimation. Humans were not passive. They were engaged, thinking, learning, and preparing for every possibility. Then the first real challenge arose. A Vrixian craft ventured too close to one of the outer human colonies, testing defensive responses. Sensors picked up high-speed energy streams directed at the colony, not harmful, but precise and probing. "Possible escalation," warned Ravi Patel. "They are testing limits again." Elena's response was firm. "Then we will show limits they cannot predict. Prepare the defense drones. Activate energy dispersal arrays. Let them see humanity's resilience in action." The defense systems activated, not in aggression but in precision. Energy pulses were redirected, demonstrating control and efficiency. Drones moved in patterns the Vrixians had not anticipated, predicting and countering movements almost before they occurred. Humanity had taken the first spark and turned it into a blaze of skill and intelligence. On the Vrixian observation deck, Lorthus studied the displays. They are unpredictable. Their coordination is remarkable. Their courage, almost reckless but effective. It was a moment of revelation. The Vrixians realized that apologies and gifts had no power here. Humanity did not negotiate with uncertainty or manipulation. Humans responded with intelligence, creativity, and relentless determination. Back on Earth's orbit, human crews worked tirelessly. Scientists, engineers, and military strategists collaborated in real time. Systems were analyzed, responses tested, and strategies adapted. Humans learned quickly, and more importantly, humans shared knowledge. Every improvement, every observation, Every lesson was communicated instantly to every station and ship in the human network. The first spark of real danger, the probing of the outer colony, ended without harm. Yet the incident marked a turning point. Humanity had demonstrated that they could respond, adapt, and survive even when faced with advanced alien technology. And they had sent a clear message: humans do not yield to intimidation, manipulation, or threats. That evening, General Rojas addressed the fleet. Humanity is not defined by fear. We are defined by courage, by ingenuity, and by our will to survive. Today we showed that we will not be tested without response. The Vrixians may have planned carefully, but they underestimated one thing: human unpredictability and determination. The fire has begun, and it will not be extinguished by words or gifts. Dr. Tan reflected privately on the events. They think of themselves as patient observers. They think we are still learning, but we have learned quickly. Their every move has taught us, and soon they will realize that human learning is faster than any of their calculations. The Vrixians retreated slightly, reassessing. They had assumed superiority, that experience, technology, and planning would grant them control. But humans did not fit patterns. Humans did not respond according to expectation. Every display, every probe, every minor test only strengthened human resolve and revealed the Vrixians' underestimation. Meanwhile, humans continued to innovate. They developed energy fields that could neutralize alien probes, predictive algorithms that could anticipate movements, and rapid response units capable of acting independently while sharing data across the network. Every action was precise, coordinated, and effective. Humans were learning faster than the aliens had expected, and humans were already thinking several steps ahead. In private, General Rojas acknowledged the growing tension. "We are not seeking war," she said to Ravi Patel. "But if the Vrixians force conflict, they will find that humans are not only capable of defense but also of offense. We will not strike first, but we will respond decisively, and we will survive." The first spark had ignited a fire. What began as observation and apology had become a test of wits, courage, and determination. The Vrixians were learning that humans did not bend under pressure. Humans did not negotiate after the fire had begun. They adapted, resisted, and prevailed. As Part 3 closes, the stage is set. Humanity has proven that they are capable, resourceful, and unpredictable. The Vrixians now face a species that cannot be controlled, manipulated, or underestimated. And the first real skirmish has shown both sides that the balance of power in space is not determined by technology alone, but by determination, creativity, and the unyielding spirit of humans. The fire is spreading, quietly, deliberately, and when it burns fully, the Vrixians will understand one undeniable truth: humans do not negotiate after the fire starts. Space, once silent and vast, now felt charged with tension. Humanity had moved from observation to action, not out of aggression but necessity. Every human mind, every ship, every station was alive with purpose. The Vrixians had underestimated not only human intelligence but human courage and adaptability. And now, the fire that had been sparked in Part 3 was spreading, growing stronger with every passing hour. General Elena Rojas surveyed the fleet from the command deck of the Orion Sentinel. Her eyes, sharp and unwavering, scanned the holographic display of ships moving in coordinated patterns around Earth's orbit. Humanity was ready, not for destruction but for defense and decisive response. "Status report," she ordered. Lieutenant Commander Hiro Tanaka responded immediately. "Outer colonies secure. Drones monitoring Vrixian ships. Energy fields active. All systems nominal. They are adjusting patterns, trying to anticipate our responses, but our adaptive algorithms are keeping pace. Humans are outperforming expectations," Elena nodded. "Good. Keep observation strict but maintain readiness to act. Humanity survives by thinking ahead, but we also act when necessary." Meanwhile, in one of the outer colonies, Dr. Maytan oversaw the deployment of a new technology: autonomous energy dispersal drones designed to neutralize any sudden energy pulses. These drones were small, fast, and intelligent. They could analyze incoming energy patterns and respond within milliseconds, a demonstration of human innovation in real-time problem-solving. "This is our advantage," Dr. Tan said to her team. "We are not stronger in raw power, but we are unpredictable, adaptable, and precise. Humanity survives through ingenuity, and that is what we will show today." The first major engagement began when a Vrixian ship attempted to isolate one of the human colonies using subtle gravitational and energy manipulations. The humans anticipated the move. Their fleet responded in unison, activating energy shields, repositioning defensive drones, and creating counter patterns to neutralize the alien maneuver. In the command deck, Elena observed the engagement. "Notice their approach," she said. "They rely on precision and predictability. Humans do not work that way. We adapt, we improvise, and we survive." The Vrixians, for the first time, realized that their carefully planned movements were being countered, not by brute force, but by human ingenuity. Their ships were sleek and advanced, yet they could not predict human responses. Every maneuver humans made was unconventional, every action effective. Lorthus watched with a growing sense of unease. "They are remarkable," he said quietly. "We expected resistance, yes, but not this level of coordination and creativity. Humans, they are not what we anticipated." As the Vrixians adjusted, humans pressed their advantage, but not recklessly. The Orion Sentinel and accompanying ships moved in patterns that maximized defense and minimized exposure. Drones launched in swarms, observing alien reactions and feeding real-time data back to human command. Every move, every adjustment, every calculation reflected humanity's adaptability. In the midst of the engagement, civilians contributed as well. Engineers, technicians, and scientists from the colonies worked together to improve drone algorithms, optimize energy shield configurations, and develop rapid communication networks. Humanity's collective strength became evident. Survival was not just the task of soldiers or pilots. It was the responsibility of every human willing to contribute. Dr. Tan observed the results. The Vrixians assumed we would react in predictable ways. They did not account for creativity, teamwork, and adaptability. Every test they throw at us only strengthens our systems and our response. The battle in space remained precise and controlled, yet the message was clear. Humans were not to be underestimated. The Vrixians attempted a more aggressive approach, using advanced energy manipulation to attempt to overwhelm one of the outer stations. But human energy dispersal systems, combined with predictive movement algorithms, absorbed and redirected the energy harmlessly. Lieutenant Commander Tanaka monitored the response. They underestimated the combination of human ingenuity and coordination. Their attack has failed. They expected hesitation. Humans do not hesitate. On board the Vrixian ship, confusion began to spread. Lorthus realized that their assumptions about human behavior were flawed. Humans did not rely solely on advanced technology. They relied on their minds, their ability to adapt, and their capacity to act decisively. "They learn too quickly," one Vrixian officer said. "Every action we take is countered. They do not follow expected patterns. Their response is unpredictable." Lorthus nodded slowly. "Humans are not just clever. They are courageous, adaptable, and relentless. We must reconsider our approach." Humanity, meanwhile, continued to expand its influence without aggression. Each engagement, each defensive maneuver was a demonstration of capability, not dominance. Humans communicated efficiently across vast distances, sharing information instantly and adapting collectively. Every station, every ship, every colony became part of a larger network of survival and ingenuity. General Rojas addressed the fleet. The Vrixians assumed superiority through technology. They assumed we would react predictably. They are learning now that humans do not bend under pressure. We adapt, we survive, and we will prevail without losing our principles. The Vrixians attempted one final maneuver to test human resolve, a concentrated energy pulse aimed at disrupting communications between colonies. But human engineers anticipated it. Energy deflection arrays activated, redirecting the pulse harmlessly into space. At the same time, drones transmitted signals that simulated human response patterns, confusing the alien systems further. Dr. Tan smiled. "They are learning, but too late. Humans are already steps ahead. Their assumptions are failing." For the Vrixians, this was a moment of revelation. They realized that apologies and demonstrations of power were meaningless. Humanity's strength was not in numbers or raw technology, but in intelligence, creativity, and determination. Every test they had imposed only revealed the depth of human resilience. As the engagement ended for the day, human losses were minimal, mostly minor system damages and minor injuries. The Vrixians retreated slightly, reassessing their strategy. They had underestimated humanity, and the lesson was costly in terms of planning and expectations, though not in lives. General Rojas looked out at the stars from the command deck. "This is what humans do," she said quietly. "We survive not because we have the largest ships or the strongest weapons, but because we think, adapt, and act together. Humanity does not negotiate after the fire starts. We do not yield. We endure and we prevail." The Vrixians, observing from a distance, were forced to acknowledge the truth. Humans were exceptional, not in arrogance, not in domination, but in resilience, adaptability, and unity. Every small test, every maneuver, every gesture of observation had revealed a species that could not be predicted, controlled, or intimidated. Dr. Tan reflected on the larger picture. This is more than survival. This is a demonstration of human nature. Our ingenuity, our teamwork, our courage, they are unmatched. The Vrixians will see that humans are not merely reactive. We are proactive. We are relentless. And we will not back down. In the colonies, life continued even as the battle unfolded. Civilians contributed to engineering, logistics, and communication. Humanity's strength was collective. It was shared, adaptive, and intelligent. Every person had a role in the survival and success of their species. The fire had risen and it was no longer a spark. Humanity had demonstrated capability, courage, and unity. The Vrixians had learned that words, apologies, and gifts could not sway humans once their determination was awakened. General Rojas concluded the day's report with one final statement. The Vrixians will learn slowly if they must that humans do not negotiate after the fire starts. Our strength is not in anger but in courage, not in fear but in unity, not in power but in intelligence. Humanity survives and we will always rise. And as Part 4 closed, humanity stood taller, stronger, and more united than ever. The Vrixians had begun to understand the fire they had ignited, the fire of human spirit, ingenuity, and relentless determination. Space, once calm, now held the echoes of human resilience. The rising inferno of human resolve had become unmistakable, and the Vrixians would never forget it. Space had grown tense. The calm that once seemed eternal was gone, replaced by the hum of human ships and the shimmering light of alien technology. Humanity had proven itself in the first encounters and the small skirmishes, and in the adaptive maneuvers that had frustrated the Vrixians at every turn. But now the moment of ultimate demonstration had arrived. General Elena Rojas stood on the command deck of the Orion Sentinel, her eyes fixed on the holographic projection of the Vrixian fleet. Lorthus's ships had stopped their maneuvers, hovering uncertainly in orbit near the human colonies. For the first time, the Vrixians realized that humans were no ordinary species. Humanity did not merely react. Humanity acted with purpose, creativity, and coordination that no one had anticipated. "Status report," Elena said. Her voice was calm, but her presence commanded focus. Lieutenant Commander Hiro Tanaka responded immediately. "All outer colonies secure. Defense grids fully operational. Drones and fleet ships synchronized. The Vrixians appear to be reconsidering their position. Their energy patterns indicate hesitation and uncertainty. Humans have control of the situation." Elena nodded. "Good. Humanity will not attack unless necessary. Our goal is survival and clarity, but we will respond decisively if threatened. The fire we have begun is not destructive. It is the strength of human resolve." On one of the outer colonies, Dr. Maytan oversaw the final stages of a coordinated operation. Human drones were positioned throughout the orbital zone, each capable of acting independently while sharing real-time data across the network. Energy shields, deflection arrays, and predictive algorithms were active and fully integrated. Every station, every ship, every system worked together in perfect harmony, a testament to human ingenuity and unity. "This is the culmination of everything we've learned," Dr. Tan said to her team. "The Vrixians think they are testing us, but in reality, we are showing them who humanity truly is. Our strength lies not in power alone, but in our intelligence, creativity, and cooperation." The Vrixians, observing from their fleet, grew increasingly uneasy. Lorthus communicated with his officers. "They are formidable. Every test we have imposed has been countered. Every display of power has been met with adaptation. They are not what we expected. Their response is not predictable. Their spirit is exceptional." It was the first admission from the Vrixians that humans were unique. Apologies, gifts, demonstrations. All were meaningless against a species that had learned quickly, adapted faster, and acted decisively. The next encounter came as a subtle challenge. A Vrixian ship moved close to one of the human colonies, testing human coordination once again. This time humans responded not only with defense but with demonstration. Drones swarmed, energy fields shimmered, and predictive algorithms directed fleet maneuvers with precision. The humans displayed capability without aggression, showing that they could protect their own while maintaining ethical restraint. General Rojas addressed the fleet. Observe closely. Every action we take is deliberate. We do not provoke, but we do not hesitate. Humanity survives by thinking ahead, by adapting, and by acting with unity. The Vrixians will understand that our fire is not extinguishable. The Vrixians tried one last maneuver, a coordinated energy pulse designed to overwhelm the human fleet's defenses. It was sophisticated, precise, and meant to test human limits. But humans anticipated it. Energy dispersal arrays activated, redirecting the pulses harmlessly into space. Drones mirrored movements, confusing alien systems further. Human ships moved in patterns the Vrixians could not predict, adapting and countering in real time. Dr. Tan watched the displays, quietly impressed by her own species. Every move they make teaches us. Every test strengthens our response. Humanity is not merely reacting. We are shaping the outcome. We are not controlled and we are not intimidated. We are alive, aware, and prepared. For the first time, Lorthus realized that their assumptions about humans were fundamentally flawed. They had underestimated adaptability, courage, and collective intelligence. Apologies and demonstrations had no effect. Humans did not negotiate from fear, curiosity, or expectation. They negotiated only from strength, unity, and survival instinct. They are exceptional, Lorthus admitted quietly. We misjudged them. Their creativity, courage, and adaptability are unmatched. Apologies and gifts are meaningless once their determination is awakened. The Vrixians signaled a retreat, moving their fleet slightly away from human colonies. They had recognized the futility of further tests. Words and displays had failed to sway humanity. Now they had to reconsider entirely. Humanity, however, did not celebrate. Their focus remained on readiness, protection, and observation. The fire had grown not in anger but in resolve. Humans understood that their survival depended not only on strength but on unity, intelligence, and ethical action. Every human contributed, from scientists to engineers to pilots to civilians supporting operations in communication, logistics, and technology development. General Rojas addressed her officers once more. Humanity has shown its capability. The Vrixians now know that we cannot be controlled or underestimated. But our strength is not in destruction. It is in our spirit, our unity, and our intelligence. That is the fire that cannot be extinguished. As the Vrixians retreated, humans observed, studied, and learned from their responses. Humanity's fire was deliberate, precise, and unwavering. It was a demonstration of skill, courage, and collective will, the very essence of what made humans exceptional. Dr. Tan reflected on the events of the past days. They thought we would be curious, cautious, or fearful. Instead, we were all three and more. We observed, we adapted, and we acted with intelligence and courage. Humans are not just survivors. We are innovators, collaborators, and protectors. That is our nature, and that is what the Vrixians have learned. Across the fleet, the humans maintained coordination, ready for any future actions but confident in their demonstrated strength. Every colony, every station, every ship had contributed. Humanity had proven that they could respond to advanced threats, protect their people, and act decisively without abandoning principle. Lorthus, aboard the Vrixian command ship, issued a final communication. Humans, we acknowledge our underestimation. Your capabilities, adaptability, and courage are exceptional. We understand now that your spirit cannot be negotiated or tested with apologies alone. We withdraw and will consider this encounter carefully. Elena Rojas replied calmly. You are correct. Apologies are meaningless after the fire starts. Humanity acts with intelligence, unity, and courage. We do not yield. We do not negotiate from weakness. That is our way, and it will not change. The Vrixians slowly withdrew from human-controlled space. The engagement had not been a war, nor a conquest. It was a demonstration of human exceptionalism, of the resilience and creativity that defined the species. Humanity had survived, adapted, and prevailed. They had shown that their fire, born from courage, intelligence, and unity, was unstoppable when awakened. In the quiet that followed, humans reflected on what had been accomplished. Colonies were secure, technology improved, and systems enhanced. The collective effort of humans, from scientists to engineers to pilots and civilians, had proven the unparalleled capability of the species. General Rojas stood on the observation deck, looking at the stars. We have shown that humanity is not to be underestimated. Our strength lies not just in ships or weapons, but in our unity, intelligence, and determination. We survive, we adapt, and we prevail. That is who we are. That is the fire of humanity. Dr. Tan joined her, smiling. They will remember this encounter. We did not need to strike first, and we did not need aggression. We demonstrated what makes us human: creativity, courage, and the will to protect and endure. That is enough to command respect even from the most advanced of species. Elena nodded. Humanity has learned something as well. We have confirmed that our greatest strength is not technology alone, but our spirit. Our unity, courage, and ingenuity are unmatched. And as long as we maintain that, no challenge will overwhelm us. The stars outside Earth's orbit twinkled quietly, but they now held a subtle witness to human resilience. The fire that had started in curiosity and caution had grown into a controlled blaze of strength, intelligence, and collective will. Humanity had survived the challenge, learned from it, and demonstrated what made them truly exceptional. And as the Vrixians retreated into the distance, they carried with them a profound understanding. Humans do not negotiate after the fire starts. Apologies, gifts, and tests were meaningless once determination was awakened. Humanity's fire burned not for conquest, not for vengeance, but for survival, unity, and progress. The encounter ended, but the lesson endured. Humans had shown their brilliance, courage, and spirit, proving once again that they were a species capable of rising above any challenge. The fire of humanity, once sparked, would never be extinguished, and in the silent expanse of space that fire burned brighter than any star.